Now, how does glucose get to the parts of the body where it is actually needed? That is a very interesting aspect of this video if you will continue watching. There is what we call glucose transporters in the body. They are abbreviated as GLUT, G-L-U-T, and we have GLUT 1 to 14. So every glucose transporter has a specific work it is doing. Now look at it like this. There is a specialized glucose transporter that is responsible for that. And that glucose transporter is insulin dependent. When we say insulin dependent, that glucose transporter cannot work without insulin, and that is the GLUT4. So what insulin actually does is that it signals the GLUT4 to come up to the cell membrane so that it can open for glucose to enter. Because when you hear that insulin helps sugar to enter inside the blood or to enter inside the cell, or insulin helps glucose to enter inside the cell, it's not just like that. Insulin acts to signal the glucose transporter responsible for letting glucose enter inside the cell. Then that transporter, which is GLUT4, comes up to the cell membrane and opens up. So it is through that channel that glucose actually enters the cell. Now, there is something interesting about this blood sugar that you must understand. There are other glucose transporters because the brain depends on sugar to survive. Though in the absence of sugar, the brain can run on ketones, but the best for the brain is sugar. So there is a glucose transporter responsible for carrying sugar inside the brain. The red blood cells depend 100% on sugar to function. So if you understand this whole thing about the blood sugar, you will then appreciate or understand better when we will begin to talk about diabetes and what actually causes diabetes. Because in my next video, I will be going deep into how diabetes develops in the body. So you will appreciate this video maybe more when you will watch the video I will be making on diabetes, because we will actually go deep and understand how this GLUT4 actually works. And then you will also understand why physical exercise helps a person to metabolize sugar even without insulin. Everything boils down to this glucose transporter called GLUT4. Why I took my time to make this video first before going into insulin resistance and diabetes is to lay a foundation so that you will understand. Remember, what we are doing here is to understand nutrition, how the food you eat affects your body. And I say that what you get from food are nutrients. And today, I've talked about blood sugar, and one of the nutrients you get from your food is glucose, and is at the center of discussion. So we cannot talk about nutrients without talking about glucose, because carbohydrate is so common. It is hard for you to eat in a day and avoid carbohydrate. It's very hard. So that nutrient in food called glucose is what I'm explaining today, how it actually moves in the body. So blood sugar is very, very important to the body. And what the body actually does is to maintain a balance. It's not to strike it away. It's not to make it zero. If the sugar is too high, it is a problem. If it is too low, it is a problem. So the body actually maintains this balance by maintaining a normal blood sugar level. So sugar is actually very essential to survival. Very, very important. But then this statement that sugar is essential to survival has become a reason why so many people abuse sugar. And when I say sugar, I don't just mean the sugar you use to drink akamu. No, any carbohydrate actually means sugar because it will broken down to sugar. And I told you before that your body doesn't know what is bread or yam or pizza. The body actually recognizes nutrients. So when you eat carbohydrate, what the body is seeing that you have given it glucose, and the glucose will start interacting with the body. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe because there are other videos coming up that you will actually learn a lot from. The essence of this movement is to make you understand how food works in your body, how the food you eat affects your body. And once you understand that, you will begin to make informed decisions. In fact, nobody will be telling you what to eat again or what not to eat. Because whenever you pick up that food to eat, you will know what that food contains and what it's likely to do in your body. And you will then begin to make informed decisions about what you eat. Like I told you, I will not police you on what to eat or what not to eat. I will only be explaining it so that you will use your understanding to make that decision for yourself. Because over the years, telling people don't eat this, don't eat that has never worked. And sometimes some people begin to starve themselves because they don't understand. Sometimes some people begin to run away from even the food they are supposed to eat just because of the way they were told, don't eat this, don't eat that. And they didn't understand nutrition. So the main thing is to understand nutrition and understand how that food will interact with your body. Once you understand that, every other thing will not be a problem. You will be able to make up that your mind and eat the right food for your body. Thank you.